Thank you, everyone. Good morning. Mas Aan, a good friend of mine. We were best friends since early 90s. And it's good to see Mas Aan. And Mas Oni, thank you for the opportunity to share what we've been doing in terms of fighting COVID-19 in our beloved city, in the city of Bogor. For me, fighting COVID-19 is not only a matter of, serving as my duty as a mayor of Bogor, but much more than that, for me is a bit, emotional reasons. I was tested positive for COVID-19 on the 19th of March. It was really a shocking moment for me and my family. Because I never thought that I became the first Bogorians to be announced as patient of COVID-19. A few hours before I was tested positive COVID-19, I said to my team in Bogor, considering the character of Bogorians people, who tends to, not obey the regulations of the government in dealing with COVID-19. And I said to my team, what can we do to make the people obey the regulations? Do you think we should have one positive person of COVID-19, then they will obey the regulations? That's my statement. 2 hours before the governor called me, let me know that I am positive for COVID-19. So that was back a few weeks ago. I was hospitalized for 22 days in RSUD Kota Bogor. But while in the hospital, even with very limited conditions, I tried so hard in making, some sort of mapping the arising issues. And during my stage, having isolation period at home, I also did not stop in putting together the steps and policies of the city government. I learned diverse data and requested input from a number of parties. I instructed the head of health department in my authority to invite the expert, the epidemiologists, to present various models and simulations. So I do believe that the key in fighting COVID-19 is making collaborations with the experts. We must hear what the experts say. So there must be a holistic picture of the scenario going forward, from the best scenario to the worst scenario. Let's hope for the best and prepare for the worst, so we can anticipate all possibilities in dealing with this COVID-19. But yes, indeed, the issues are severe. COVID-19 pandemic illustrated as a major war against an invisible enemy. I said it again, a major war against an invisible enemy. And we must ensure that people are safe and protected, while at the same time, we have a very limited logistic, while abiding to the current rules and regulations. So the first step is to ensure that all measures in handling COVID are supported by adequate budget. So the first step is to ensure that all measures in handling COVID are supported by adequate budget. Do not plan measures without available budget. We must be realistic, but this doesn't mean giving up to the current conditions. So I instructed all Bogor city offices, all the head of department under my authority to shift all resources from initiatives that can be postponed or cancelled to be directed toward handling COVID-19. But on the other hand, we must ensure that routine operational needs to be secure. So we successfully collected 144 billion rupiah, which will be allocated in dealing with COVID-19. And we are going to implement this 144 billion rupiah in 3 major sectors: health, social safety network, and economic empowerment. Slide-nya.
Maybe you can ask for the slide to move forward if you want.
Yeah.
One of our staff will operate it for you.
I'm still waiting for the slide to be presented. Next slide, please. So, as we can see, this is the revisions of our local budget. So the condition is extraordinary. It's not business as usual. It's really unusual. While at the same time, our local income has dropped significantly, around 60%. On the one hand, we also focusing on dealing with this COVID-19 problems. We have 144 billions to be allocated for war in COVID-19. And for second step, I requested the head of Bapenda, the Regional Revenue Agency, to innovate in maintaining stream of income to the regions. Bogor City's locally generated revenue, our local income, has fallen by around 60%. It's because of our local income heavily relies on revenue contributed by services and tourism sectors, the two sectors that were affected heavily by this pandemic. Bapenda then announced the payment postpone of hotel tax, restaurant tax, entertainment tax, and parking tax from March, April, and May tax period to the 30th June in 2020. And the city of Bogor also gave tax reductions to property tax, or we call it Pajak Bumi Bangunan, PBB. Next slide, please. And there are discounts for property taxpayers between April and June. For people who pay property tax arrears for the year prior to 2019, were also given incentives in the form of writing of lines. So it is our innovations, on the one hand, to secure our local budget. On the other hand, we have to find ways to, to refocusing our local budget in handling these COVID-19 problems. The third step, we encourage the movement of 1 million cloth masks. It's the simplest way, but quite effective to prevent transmission of the virus. So this movement is generated by, ibu-ibu PKK, UMKM Kota Bogor, activists, NGO activists, campaigning the use of, cloth masks throughout the city. This is the city with 1 million people, and we are targeting all of our citizens are wearing masks to prevent the spread of COVID-19. And this movement is actually empower citizens and small businesses. It's kind of a spillover effect, not only for the purpose of fighting COVID-19 in terms of health issues, but also to empower the citizen in terms of economic issues. And the first step is the personal consolidations. It's staffing matters. In this war-alike situation, we need fighters in the field. We need fighter in the field. The first, back in the field, I appointed 6 new department heads under my authority. Kasatpol PP, Kepala Dinas Pariwisata dan Kebudayaan, 3 camat, and I reminded them that this is a golden opportunity to save as many human lives as possible. It is time for leadership to be tested. It is time the leadership to be tested. Leadership at all levels. And I gave a warning to all of my staff. Don't dare to, to play with everything. Using the money properly and doing the job properly. Because, as I said, it is war-like situations. It's not business as usual. It's unusual. It's extraordinary. So I need, brave people in the field. I need people with courage to do their job in these very complicated situations. And I ask for the troops in the front guard to be strengthened and supported by adequate budget. This is war-like situations. So our infantry, pasukan infantry, those who are placed at the front line should be strengthened and supported by adequate budget. Not only health workers, but also sub-district and village heads. Camat, lurah, they are people who must, socializing the COVID suppression every single day, assist in tracking patient history, and consolidate recipient of social aid data. Very difficult job in this war-alike situations. Not business as usual situation. So the front line has to be strengthened, not only in terms of budget allocations, but also number of personnel and so on and so forth. And the first step and the fifth step, I ensure that the supervisions of the PSBB, the large-scale social limitations, is carried out to the maximum. It must be firm. PSBB must be firm. To the extent and within the authority of the city government, any strict measures will be taken for the violators. The first day I was on duty in the city hall, I directly led the civil service police unit, our Satpol PP, to close a shopping center in the city center that was still operational, regardless it was not part of PSBB restrictions. And today, this is the first day of the third phase of PSBB, and Bogor is the first city in Indonesia to implement Perwali, a main regulations to give sanctions for those who violate the regulation of PSBB, starting from social workers sanctions to fine with the diverse numbers of amount. And the sixth step, I ensure that the government assistance for economically affected citizens pull right on target. I requested Office of Communication and Informatics to make an application, to make an app, so that the data of social aid recipients is made public. The third day I went back to work, the city government launched apps called Salur, S-A-L-U-R, Collaborations and Solidarity for the People system. So the residents only need to enter the population identification number, or NIK, to check whether they are registered as beneficiaries or not. They will know if they are registered to be the recipients of the assistance from the national level, provincial level, or the city level. If not registered, then they can submit a request for social aid and be verified by the city government. And if verification has declared feasible, then this particular resident is eligible to be included in the list of beneficiaries of the foster family program, Program Keluarga Asuh. This is our effort, our way to help as many people as possible, not using our local budget, by generating the concerns of the public to make a donation for this program, the foster family program, Program Keluarga Asuh. So this is not from the city budget, but donation from citizen. One family helps one family. So donors can select the families to be assisted from list of beneficiaries in selected the area registered in this channel application. And the seventh step, I believe that PSBB will be useless, will be nothing, if we are not intensifying mass rapid tests and swab tests in public places, including markets, stations, and terminals. According to our recent data, those who confirmed positive for COVID-19 are mostly those who have been interacting in crowded public areas such as the station, terminals, and those who are related to Jakarta and surrounding area. And the eighth step, it is important to ensure the monitoring system, the evaluation system. We have to ensure that it runs very well. There is no meaning for PSBB being applied without being able to make a proper evaluation with accurate data trend analysis. The second day I went back to work, I invite the expert from the University of Indonesia to make a presentation, enlighten us about the trend, the future trend for the coming months ahead, so we can anticipate. So according to the recent data, it is good to see the progress of our policy in Bogor. The illustration shows that the curve has been flattening. So for the last few days, the last 2 weeks, we've been witnessing the decreasing number of those who confirm positive for COVID-19 and the increasing numbers of those who can be announced as negative for COVID-19. But then again, it is not safe yet. We cannot tell that we are safe yet. Our effort today in implementing the PSBB is the key. Our discipline is the key, and what we are doing now determine the length of the war against COVID-19. So if we are relaxing our policies today, it means that we only prolong this war to the end of the year, or even the beginning of the next year. Let me conclude and let me convince to all of you that the collaborative government is the key to win the war. Government that embrace collaboration with all sides while harnessing resident solidarity is the key to win the war. Collaboration for sharing, solidarity without borders, and empower together. The key to win the war. So I pray for everyone. Stay safe, stay healthy. Good luck, all the best, and please do post me a question so we can have another time for discussion. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, Kang Bima, for your detailed explanations on your administration's response to the spread of COVID-19. So now I open question and answer sessions. So probably it will consist of 2 batches if Kang Bima has the time. For the first batch, anybody would like to ask questions? Okay, if there is nobody asking question, I would like to ask questions first. So again, thank you for your detailed explanations. Do you have any problems in coordinating financial assistance or bansos assistance from central government?
Well, yes, of course. And let me tell you one thing. In a very normal conditions, we experience same problems. The problems in updating data, the problems in delivering package to those who really need. That was in normal conditions because our system is quite weak in terms of updating data. Can you imagine? It is not normal. This is war-like situations. So never expected the perfect situations, never expected. So what we can do is to ensure that let's do the best and let God do the rest. Let's do the best. I mean, we are updating data as hard as possible. We are communicating with any stakeholders to receive the inputs. We open the channel of communications and aspirations so the citizen can, give advice, critique, and inputs for me to improve the policies. I just spoke to the social minister this morning, and actually, we've been a very good thing so far. Considering this war-like situation, 80% of the aid from the social ministries has been successfully channeled to those who really need in the city of Bogor. That's my answer, Aan.
Thank you, Kang Bima. Any other comments, questions from students or other parts of our community?
Ardi wants to ask, Pak Aan. Ardi and Yulita.
Okay, Ardi. Okay, please do.
Good morning. Thank you, Kang Bima Arya, for your time. My question is simple about relaxation, or pelonggaran to supposedly occur soon. Do you think it will be too early, at least in Jabodetabek, or will it be? It's already well calculated enough. I think that's just my question.
Well, I perceive that what the government is thinking is now balancing the economic purpose with the health purpose. But in my personal view, we have to choose. We cannot have both at these very difficult situations. We must focusing on health issues. Health is the first thing to be prioritized. So let's not focusing on, only on economic matters. Yes, we do understand that now is, a very difficult times for everyone. More and more people are affected in terms of economic during the COVID-19 war this time. But let's think like this. If you are now focusing on health issues, we are implementing PSBB as rigid as possible, then we can move on faster to improve our economic situation. Otherwise, if you are only considering economic situation, we are losing the policies of PSBB implementations, then we are going nowhere. We only prolong to have these war-like situations. So let's focus on health issues, preventing the spread of COVID-19. Let's talk about relaxations on another stage, but not now. We are not safe yet.
Okay, thank you.
Yuita?
Yes, thank you very much, Kang Bima, for the presentations. It's really interesting to understand the updates from Bogor. So my question is related to these questions on the economic factor. As you mentioned that with the policy of closing hundreds of shops in Bogor, of course there's an economic risk where the employees of those shops become unemployed. How do you mitigate the risks that this policy doesn't worsen the economic risk during this COVID-19? Is there any facilities you give to the shop owners or the employees of the shop? Thank you.
Well, I emphasize my approach to all my staff in dealing with this difficult situation. We have to combine the firmness with our caring, ketegasan dan kasih sayang. On one hand, we should focus on the implementation of PSBB with the right sanction for those who violate the regulations, ketegasan. But on the other hand, it is not possible for us if only, make a firm policies regarding to the PSBB, but without, caring for, fulfilling the need for the people. We are registering those who really need the assistance today. In our database, there are 159 and 162,000 families in a very difficult situation. So this family are now giving prioritize to be assisted. Sources from the national level, the provincial level, to the city level. At the city level, we are allocating 10 billion rupiah for those who are considered as, the new poor, kelompok miskin baru. And we are keep updating the data. So that's our effort to make sure that we can, minimize the social unrest at the grassroots level. And as I said in my presentations, we also open the room for the citizen to join the collaborations effort in helping the new poor in the city of Bogor.
Okay, thank you, Kang Bima.
Yeah, Kang Bima, there's questions from anonymous attendee. So basically, he or she is asking questions: how do you overcome data forgery in the distributions of bansos? So he or she is not going to provide any detail, but basically he or she is asking in regard to how do you overcome data forgery.
Well, that is the substance of the problem. Invalid data or double recipients. So it is possible that one family can receive two assistance from two sources, one from the national level and one from provincial level. That's why we create the channel of aspirations. We have 112 dial number, we have Sibadra application, and we have Salur, the applications, so our citizen can channel their aspirations, and according to their input, we revise the data. So now we open for any input from the citizen, from any stakeholders, so we can revise the data. I can hear you. Unmute. I can hear you, Aan.
Anwar,
Yeah.
Okay. Can you hear me now?
Yes, clearly.
Okay. I will read out questions from SKPP student, regarding the data of social assistance aid recipients. How the city of Bogor does the validations of those data?
We form a team not only at kecamatan level but also kelurahan level. It involves kasih kemas in kecamatan dan kelurahan, ibu-ibu PKK, tim kemiskinan, and also penyuluh KB at kecamatan and kelurahan level. So these are the team who validating data in a regular basis. So we are building the system to make some sort of monitoring and evaluation system. Who is this girl?
Any other questions from participants?
Mas Aan, Enal would like to ask a question.
Oh, Enal, please do, Enal.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you so much, Pan. Thank you, Kang Bima. I have two questions. Is my voice clear?
Yes, your voice is clear, I think. Yeah.
I cannot hear the question.
Okay, now it seems that Kang Bima cannot hear your voice.
Oh, yeah. Halo, Pak.
Yeah.
Can you hear my voice, Kang Bima? Hello.
It's unclear.
Halo, Pak.
Yes.
Can you hear my voice?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, Pak. I have two questions, Pak. Kang Bima. The first question is, we know that during the pandemic era, there are so many person want to help the other person. For example, try to share basic needs like sembako to the person. I mean, not from the government, but help from the society to the other civil society. But sometimes when they give help to the person, like sembako, for example, they don't think about social distancing or physical distancing. The question is do you have any specific policy to make sure that if they are good intent to the other person, if they are good intent to help the other person, not make the situation is not. Not make new trouble. I mean, because they don't attend about physical distancing. The second is maybe this problem not happen in city in Bogor city, but in Bogor Kabupaten, we find that my cousin is related to education in some remote area in the Bogor Kabupaten. There are many students can learn by online way because they don't have any signal there. So, but the regulation from the Kemendikbud, the model of study during the pandemic era using the online way. But How to overcome the problem? The Kemendikbud order online way in study during pandemic era, but in some areas, specifically in remote area, there is not any signal to do online study. How to overcome the problem? Maybe I understand that maybe in a city of in Bogor city there is not case like that, but in Bogor Kabupaten we find like that. As I have discussed with Kabupaten Indonesia, Kabupaten Indonesia have data about if there are many some area in Bogor Kabupaten can do online study because there enough good signal there. That's my question.
Okay, it seems that Zainal's voice is not so clear. Probably, can you repeat the first questions? I think that the second question is dealing with a kind of a problem in pursuing online education. Yeah. So how does Bogor City government deal with the provisions of online educations for students who are living in the city? The first one, I don't get it.
Yeah, the first one, we know that during this pandemic era, there are many person want to help the other person. For example, they share sembako to the other person, but when they do it, they don't attend about physical distancing. I mean, tetap bercampur seperti biasa. Niatnya membagi bantuan, tetapi fisik itu nggak diperhatikan, pembatasan tidak diperhatikan. I mean, is there a specific policy from the Bogor City to Kang Bima to overcome this problem? Is there any?
Okay, I get it. So probably
related to.
Yep.
Yeah, the second question is maybe this online.
Okay, and maybe you can type it down because it's not clear. Pak Bima cannot hear you. Pak also cannot hear you. So maybe you can type it down. I think the second question, Pak Mas An got it. So maybe Pak Bima could have the second question first, and then you can type down the other questions.
Okay.
Well, physical distancing is not only about regulations. It's also about social enforcement or law enforcement. So I'm instructing my Satpol PP and also Camat Lurah to make sure that no violations related to the physical distancing policy. So we often receive the inputs from social media, from the citizen, to inform us the tendency of having a very crowded moment in certain event. So right away I instructed the Satpol PP, Camat Lurah to come to this event and making initiatives to improve the situations. So it should be daily basis to monitoring and to make some sort of assessments for physical distancing. The problem lies in crowded areas such as stations and markets. But other than that, I think we are now seeing the good standards of physical distancing among the citizens in Bogor. And I don't really get the questions related to the issue of online educations. But as far as I'm concerned, the problem of online education is the same throughout the nation. It's about equality of the IT infrastructure in the city. Thanks God that Bogor now in a good level of IT infrastructure system. We also having cooperations with third parties to improve these online educations. We gain an input to guide teachers and principals to do these online educations. But as I said, there is no way we can hope for perfect situations. Yes, the problem of infrastructure is there. The problems of equal access to gadget is there. But let's do our best to join movement with other parties to improve the situations. But I send a message to this education department under my authority to focus also to the substance of curriculum. Let's do something to increase the awareness, not only the awareness of COVID-19 in terms of health issues, but also religious sentiment, religious issues, and also the issues of togetherness. So it is about the time to strengthen our solidarity, not only in terms of technical health issues.
Okay, thank you, Kang Bima, for your comprehensive answer to Zainal's questions. Now we are turning into second batches of questions, and then we have got questions from Indra Permana. Ya. Indra Permana. Wait. Oh, we have got questions from Diah Indrapati. Ya. So basically, she is asking questions. Besides fighting the COVID-19, it is also necessary to prepare the people on the new normal. What is Bogor's strategy for this new normal? When do you think the best time to start these educations to people?
Well, at this point, I don't think that there is one in the world that can answer these questions. What kind of new normal that we will be having, and when it will be? No answers. It's still uncertain. But the point I'm taking from the question is that now it is about the time for us, not only preventing us to be contaminated from COVID-19, but also preparing ourselves so we can ready when the time has come, when the new normal is come. So we have to make ourselves ready, not only in terms of our knowledge, our behavior, and also our attitude. In my book, I wrote everything about my reflections concerning the new normal. I do believe that there will be a new normal in terms of education system. There will be a new normal in terms of IT. The way we use social media, the way we use IT to improve our social relations. So I make some sort of evaluation to myself that we have to rethinking ourselves in using this IT and social media. I was successfully fight against COVID-19 at the very first day during my isolation in the hospital, because I decided for not using social media. That is my new normal. Stop using social media, or at least minimizing the negative impact of social media. That is my new normal. Another new normal is the way we practice our beliefs, salat, ibadah, and so on and so forth. Now we cannot perform as a normal way. We are very abnormal today. We cannot go to the mosque, we cannot perform taraweh, and there is a big possibility that we cannot perform Salat Eid. And I do believe that this is the way that God warned us, that our religious performance should not only focus on ritual and formal matters, like Friday prayer, Salat Jumat. Probably before the COVID-19, we only go to the mosque for social sanctions, for only horizontal reasons, not vertical reasons. So God warned us. So our new normal now is rethinking the way we pray, the way we perform our religious belief. So this is new normal that's still abstract, that everybody, they can have their own new normal, interpreting and perceiving these current situations. But I believe that in the future months ahead, we will be having something very different. It's not gonna be the same again for everything.
Okay, we are going to have 3 more questions from 3 people. I don't know what time are we going to wrap up our discussions. Is it okay, Kang Bima, to have 3 more questions?
Okay.
Okay, thank you. So we have got questions from Indra Permana, Jeffrey, and Pak Endang. But probably, please let Pak Endang Sukara from a professor from Institute Indonesia Science Institute, yeah, to ask questions. Pak Endang, please do.
Yes, thank you, Pak An, for the opportunities. Firstly, I just would like to congratulate to Kang Bima for his a great job and endless effort in fighting COVID-19. My observation is actually in regard to COVID-19 in Indonesia, and also I think including in Bogor. We really start from the stage of incompetence about this pandemic. So with the leadership of Kang Bima, I think we move forward to conscious but still incompetence. But now, Kang Bima back again, and we actually come to the new stage, conscious competence. And Kang Bima also designed a new set of regulation to fighting the COVID-19. I'm actually hoping that this attitude will become a new orders. This attitude become a new attitude for all the Bogor citizen and change our way of living. But my question is to Kang Bima, how Kang Bima to guide the people of Bogor to leverage this stage from conscious competence to become inconscious competence. So to improve the degree of awareness on the importance of pandemic, to improve the degree of awareness on the importance of health, to improve the degree of awareness on better life, reduce water pollution, for example, reduce waste, and all of the behavior and attitude of the Bogor citizen will be unconscious but really competent. So there will be no more in the new orders, in the new coming stage that the people would like to actually throw the garbage away or something like it. But really unconscious, but really competent. That's the Bogor citizen would be in the future. How Kang Bima to lead to that direction? Thank you, Pak. Hello.
Yes, thank you. Thank you for the questions, Pak.
Yeah. Yes.
For those of you who like to see science fiction movies, you must agree with me that the disaster began when the scientists is ignored or neglected by the policymakers. If you see Armageddon, if you see the science fiction movies about the big disasters happening to the world, it begins with the scene where the scientists tell the presidents, tell the ministers, tell the officials about the future disaster, and they are neglected by the policymakers. So that is something that we really understand. At the very initial stage of COVID-19 pandemic in Indonesia, I saw the same tendency. I'm not saying that I'm blaming certain parties, but there was a tendency that it happens at all level in Indonesia, because we don't have any experience in dealing with these current situations. So that was quite normal, I guess. But now we don't have any other choices rather than making collaborations. So that's the basic recipients to win the war, as I said in my presentations. So strengthening the public awareness, making the people aware, educating the people, enforcement the law, can be done only by the government. So the government cannot do it alone. We have to invite any stakeholders in the city. So in convincing the umat in this Ramadan for not performing ibadah as usual, we have to approach Dewan Masjid Indonesia. We have to talk with Kiai. And in convincing pedagang kaki lima for not trading like business as usual, we have to talk with them, the association, the Paguyuban. And in terms of anticipating the PSBB, we must hear the presentation of the health expert, such as the epidemiologist experts, so we can understand what would be the worst and the best scenarios for our city. So again, the key message is the collaborative government. It's not about Superman. It's always about the super team. So as I said, that it is the big test for our leadership. So our leadership at any level is tested at the moment. So we must include any stakeholders to win the war. That is my answer.
Okay, thank you, Kang Bima. And now, quite a provocative questions from Indra Permana, and then after Indra Permana, then we are going to turn to Jeffrey. Yeah? So Indra Permana is asking, basically, is stating, Kang Bima always said COVID-19 is a war, but actually, according to Indra Permana, I didn't see any urgency war from central government. So what do you think to this statement? So basically, you are always saying that COVID-19 is a war, but central government does not think that this is a war.
Well, I believe that every statement is delivered by someone is depend upon their positions. I can say that this is war because I'm not the president. The president has to have a wider perspective in considering any aspects. But this is a city with 1 million people. So I declare war, not only to raising the awareness of the public about the dangers of this COVID-19, but also to make a sense of urgency among all of my staff. So I said, this is war. This is unusual. But I am a mayor, not the president. So I do comprehend, I do perceive that the president may have a very different perspective rather than any of us today, because of, he has to think about economic considerations, about also combining the issue of health and issue of social and political stability. So I don't think that is a big difference approach between the local leaders and the president at the national level.
Okay, Kang Bima, thank you very much for your answers. Actually, there are some other people who would like to ask questions here. Two from SKPP students, and then another one from Zambia, and he is studying at UGM. So how much time that you are going to have?
5 minutes, please.
5 minutes.
Yes.
Okay, 5 minutes. Okay, probably. Pak Fendri, what do you think, Pak Fendri? Should we give to our students or another person from Gambia?
It's up to the moderator.
Okay, I think for the purpose of fairness, I think we need to give questions to Jeffrey, yeah, because he asked questions first. Yeah, Jeffrey, please do ask questions. Yeah.
Okay.
And I think
thank you.
This is going to be the last, yeah, because Pak Bima is only having 5 minutes. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you so much, Pak, and thank you, Pak Kang Bima, for your great presentations. Yeah, this is me, Jeff, from SGPP student, batch 6. The last time we met at Balai Kota last year. I do really happy that Kang Bima right now is totally fully recovered from COVID-19. So my question is, first, by giving 367 million for total budgeting for PMT from May to June, and giving 691 million. Does it give any significant result to solve this problem? That is my first question. And then for the second question is, if the pandemic is still getting worse in the future, what is the policy that you can implement in the future? Okay, that's it, Kang Bima. Thank you so much.
Well, we cannot talk about the result yet. It is ongoing war. It is not finished. You know, our APBD, our local budget, can be assessed only a year after it is implemented. Our policies can be assessed years after it has been implemented. So it is the same thing. We cannot tell how much it is effective, how big the success at the implementation level. But the point is, we have to ensure that we do have the monitoring and evaluation system. Yes, by inserting the data from the expert. Like I said in my presentation, we hear the presentation from epidemiologists. We also make polls, surveys about the obedience of citizens to the PSBB regulations. So the important things is we have the MONET, monitoring dan evaluasi. We cannot expect that we will see the result in coming days ahead. No, because nobody knows when it is ended. But yes, I do anticipate if we have a prolonged war until the end of this year or the next year, we must to adjust our local budget. It is important, and we have also to create another opportunities to strengthen our local revenue, because business is not as usual. We can find ways for hotels to be operated by finding another business model. We also consult with economic experts how to set the target of economic growth for the next year. So then again, to make a predictions, to set the target, we have to include any stakeholders. But as I said, it is hard to tell where this will be finished, and how can we conclude that it is now we can have the good result for our policies.
Okay, thank you, Kang Bima, for your insights. Ladies and gentlemen, our session today has come to an end. I thank you, our distinguished speaker, Bogor Mayor Dr. Bima Arya Sugiarto, for giving us some insights on how to handle COVID-19 spread in Bogor City. And I also thank participants, and not only from SKBP students, but it seems that we have got also many other participants coming from out of town. For your attention, yeah, thank you very much, and then hopefully that we are going to engage in the similar discussions in the future. Now I turn, my role has come to an end as well, and then I turn to Kang Fendri. Probably you would like to give some remarks.
Oh no, I just like to thank Pak Bima for his willingness to share with us, because I know that you're very busy, but sharing your knowledge with us will help us a lot in many ways, particularly in understanding how we could deal with COVID-19 in a better way. Thank you very much, Kang Bima, for your time.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for your time.
Stay safe, keep healthy.